Welcome back, everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast online radio and TV network. I'm Scott Patton, the Dean of... I'm Scott Patton. He's Martin Patella, and we are live. We're happy to have you with us as usual. And we've got a very interesting topic today. So, Martin, you have been bought.
It's super timely. This thing is on only until the end of March 6th if you want to watch it for free, which many people want to. So I want everybody to give a chance to watch it now without having to pay for it. But of course, the wonderful thing would be that you actually did decide to pay for it because you loved it so much. I did. And I've been bought. Well, I watched the movie Bought, directed by Jeff Hayes. Maybe it was produced, my gosh, I forget. But anyway, Jeff Hayes' film, and Jeff is an awesome fellow. He has done multiple important documentary movies. And this one, it's one of those kind of movies that cover all the bases really well. Like, I've been in this topic for 35 years. And I'm a critical strategic thinker. So I dive deep into understanding the causes of things. And Jeff nailed it. So causes of what, right?
Right. Yeah. Who was bought or what was bought, and why? And what's the problem that it caused?
The bought probably came from the bought and paid for. And what is bought is the interests. I guess what the movie has managed to do is focus on how the industrial society is breaking down. They're documenting how our children are getting worse and worse, how there is a rising tide of autism, allergies, asthma, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, all of these inflammatory civilization, industrial society correlated illnesses.
So we've replaced measles and scurvy and malaria and all
cholera and dysentery.
And all those other things that used to kill us with cancer and diabetes and heart disease.
And we live in chronic pain. And we have children that cost us $70,000 a year to care for. I mean, who is able to put aside $70,000 per child per year to manage? And we now have about 1 in 60, approximately, children being born with autistic spectrum problems. Anyway, so the movie is called Bought, and what they're focusing on is on the effects of industrial medicine, industrial food, industrial agriculture, I guess that's part of the food, and on our health and on our society.
Wow.
And so it's the influence of money in the process. And so they're showing there were doctors who previously were funded by the government and were independent of the producers of the drugs that they would prescribe or of the methods that they would apply. And the research that was originally done by the government agencies back in 40s and 50s was independent of the producers of these things that were being recommended to be used. I don't know, I would have to talk for too long, but the movie is highlighting so many ways how money is corrupting the process.
So money is the root of all evil? Or love of money is the root of all evil? And we're talking about roots here, right?
Yeah. In many ways, it is, really. You know, if The French have this beautiful saying, cherche la femme, as in when you want to understand the nature of a situation, look for the woman behind.
Nice.
But we should change it in English for follow the money.
Follow the money. Yeah, when you have groups that have a huge amounts of money, and there are it's phenomenal the disparity between the middle class and the 0.1% in terms of amount. It's almost like can't
unfathomable,
conceive.
right?
Yeah, can't really conceive how much money these people have, and then at that point, what's the point, right? Like when you have $100 trillion that you can never spend, what do? Well, you create the world you want, which may not be the world anybody else wants.
But anything you want, you get, yes.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm getting at is that, and they're showing it in the film, that money is now able to buy government, because ever since they declared that money is speech, God, what a crazy idea that is, and that a corporation is a person, even though it will never die or cannot be put in jail. Well, anyway, so we now have the money influencing the government, so that can be bought. And then the government is influencing policy, and that's policy toward food or policy toward medicine. Yes. And so the subsidized agriculture, like the very large agriculture that grows these millions of acres of corn and soy and wheat at subsidized rates. Government's subsidizing this.
Yeah.
Meaning it's taking money from you and me to hand to these farmers to grow food that then makes you sick.
Yeah.
And then there's the chemical agribusiness, the most famous of them all being Monsanto and Bayer. Bayer for their neonicotinoids that are killing off the bees, and Monsanto for their genetically modified foods, and their fight to keep people not being able to tell whether there are or are not genetically modified foods in the specific food item that they are looking at. Anyway, so that's the big agriculture, growing foods that are making you sick, feeding them to you, and then the big medicine that's trying to fix you from the predicament that the big food put you into.
Right.
And both of them sucking money out of the government. In the middle is you being taxed by the government, being poisoned by the food, and being poisoned by the agriculture, by the medicine, the pharmaceuticals. So if you're either ignorant or poor, if you're ignorant, you're going to be buying or making the wrong choices. If you're poor, you're relegated to be making the wrong choices because you cannot afford better choices.
Right.
Because the subsidized government, the government subsidized food is the food that the big agriculture is growing. The cheapest calories are the ones from corn, soy, and wheat. And because they have so much of it, they also feed it to chickens and cattle and pigs. So you now have genetically modified grain grown on herbicide, pesticide, and fertilizer-covered fields, dead soils, fed either to chickens or pigs or cattle. So you're now having...
You get it one way or the other way.
Well, it's just stacking on top of itself. Like you get more and more of this... I don't know what to call it, the negative influences. It's as if they're setting I'm visualizing wind turbines that they're aiming at me as I'm trying to walk towards them, and it's just more and more wind that I'm having to overcome in order to move forward.
Right.
In fact, I'm starting to slide back as it's just pushing me back.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'm getting unhealthy. I mean, myself, my own story, right? The mercury poisoning, that was an example of the industrialized medicine running amok. You know, first cracked by vaccinations and then finished off by dentistry. Um, I don't know. Your story probably has roots like that too. It's just that it's not really as clear as mine because
Right.
I took the pains to map it out and find the exact spots where it happened. And then, of course, my children are even more genetically damaged. And one of the things that they did explain in the movie was the stupidity of the research, where we're spending gigabucks on research into genetics, like genes. Which gene is it that makes you autistic, or which gene is it that makes you get cancer? Well, it's the environment, or what you do, what you ingest, what you swallow, what you're washing with, that activates or not activates a certain specific expression of a gene. So it wouldn't matter so much that you may be genetically this or genetically that, as much as the environment in which you live, that, or what you ingest, that activates the dysfunctional expression of that specific gene. So, like, you use aluminum deodorant in your armpit, and before you know it, you have breast cancer. Ta-da. Or you have mercury fillings in your mouth. Before you know it, you have allergies or asthma, or your back goes. Anyway, going back to the movie, Bot. I think everybody should watch it for the following reasons. It explains the reasons and methods and the full scope of this problem. But most of all, it actually shows you the way out, which is
wow.
rare. It's rare.
Yeah, solution. That's interesting.
Yeah. And actually, Scott, you and I know the solution, and we have mentioned the solution many times. And it's in your wallet. When you vote with your dollars, the dollars are like a lifeblood of every business. So when you give your dollars to a specific brand or to a specific product or to a specific method, it's just like giving food and oxygen to that specific thing. So if you want different, you have to vote with your money. That means that you have to start buying organic.
Yeah.
You have to, because you need to starve Monsanto and his cousins.
And you buy from the local small farmer.
Yeah. You know your farmer, buy known things, but make sure you buy the ones that do not use herbicides, pesticides, and chemical fertilizers.
So just taking that to another step, when you go out for dinner, you don't go to McDonald's or large chains. I've been picking on McDonald's for no reason.
Actually, you could go to McDonald's, just ask them, are you serving organic food today?
And when they say no, you leave.
And you say, I'm so sorry, I just cannot stay.
Yeah. Because it makes no, I mean, it's kind of half the problem if I go to the grocery store or I go to the local market and I buy from my local farmer, but then I go out and where I eat that's full of GMOs and they don't care, right?
Yes. Yes, it is that. And same goes for the medical care. Do not go to the places that give you chemical care. Go to the places that give you holistic, um, well, like here, like Life Enthusiast, where we take as much care as we can to find the things that are holistic.
Yeah.
And the ones that will support healthy function as opposed to interfere with normal function. That's the difference between allopathic and functional medicine. Functional medicine supports normal function of your cells. When you support the cells, you support the organs, and when you support the organs, the whole system is working correctly. In the allopathic model, where you're chasing the symptoms, you identify a symptom, you interfere with the symptom using a poison or intervention, such as surgery or electric shock or something, to make the body stop doing what it's doing. But it's sort of like beating your dog into submission instead of positive reinforcement into giving your dog a reason to want to do this voluntarily.
Yeah.
Or your children, to give a better example. But anyway, so the allopathic medicine functions on the principle of interfering with normal function and blocking it, and hoping that by blocking the symptom, the thing will take care of itself. But it seldom does, because the medicine, the toxic medicine you take, will have a side effect, which then will further disable you, and you're going to have to take a second toxin for dealing with the side effect, and before you know it, you're on 6 or 7 medications. In fact, the average is that an American is on 6 chemical medications ongoing.
Wow.
Average. It's just astounding. So we have the most expensive, by far, healthcare in the world, but the outcomes are about number 37 last time I checked by some kind of evaluation. All we know, it's pretty bad because the illness is a runaway success and health is a currently defeated champ.
Right.
Anyway, there's the movie, Bought.
And it's available for free until March 6th. So we're going to get this out as fast as we can.
Thank you, people. You have to see this, even if you have to pay money for it. I'm telling you. And share it. Share it far and wide. Thanks for listening.
Yes, this is the Life Enthusiast online radio and TV network, restoring vitality to you and the planet. Thanks for listening, everybody. Head over to www.lifeenthusiast.com to find out more about what you can do for your health, and hit our podcast button to get the link if you're listening to this on our podcast. If you're listening to this or watching this on our video, it'll either be on the screen, well, it'll be on the screen for sure, and it'll be in the description below. Thanks. Bye-bye.